Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Lesser Known But Awesome Heroes. And today, here is the very last character, as I told you guys, in my Black History mini marathon. That's right, today it's a character that you guys have been asking for me to talk about for the longest time, so I figured I might as well do the character, just so that way I can get him out of the way. And so today, you guys will get the treat of me talking about Donnell and Dwayne Taylor, also known as the superhero and leader of the New Warriors, Nightthrasher. So I'm going to start with Dwayne Taylor because Dwayne was actually the first Nightthrasher. So let's get into Dwayne's origins. Okay, Dwayne first appeared in Thor issue 411 in December of 1989, and he was created by Tom DeFalco and Ron Frenz, F-R-E-N-Z. And Dwayne team affiliations has been the New Warriors, the Taylor Foundation, and the Folding Circle. He's also had partnerships with Silhouette. Yeah, Silhouette and Midnight's Fire. Interestingly enough, Dwayne actually has, as far as abilities, according to the villain Genocide, Dwayne actually has unspecified advanced DNA, and in issue 10, Emma Frost has stated that somehow he is naturally immune to telepathic probes. And it was later revealed that this was caused by Tai, T-A-I, either due to her tampering with his memory or a deliberate attempt on her part to ensure that no one else could manipulate Dwayne or interfere with her plans for him. Dwayne, as Nightthrasher, actually possessed excellent hand-to-hand combat fighting ability and was trained in various martial arts. He's even been able, getting tongue-tied there, to actually hold his own against Frank Castle, aka the Punisher. However, he would have won the fight with the Punisher, but Frank somehow managed to discharge an SMG against him at point-blank range. He is also an excellent acrobat, a talented designer of battle suits and small armaments, and is a very skilled and good computer hacker. His strength was further enhanced, although not truly superhuman, though, by his Mark II combat armor. And for Dwayne, he wears a special suit of light artificialized combat armor composed of a Kevlar B-O-R-O, and big words here that I have to say, SILICATE oriented fiber in ceramic matrix, 2 layers, 8mm by 16mm thick, and the cloth was composed of micromel titanium nut. I really wish they would simplify this stuff. Okay, and he originally designed the battle suit, however, to survive physical contact with Silhouette's brother Midnight's Fire. There we go. Holy crap, I'm getting tongue-tied today. This costume, however, cannot be penetrated by bullets by conventional firearms and or knives and is fireproof. It also consists of a wafer-thin LED casing which allows the suit to camouflage itself with its surroundings. The helmet actually contains goggles which are integral with infrared sighting, telescopic lenses, magnifying resonance scanning, and camera attachment. The helmet also includes a breathing apparatus, voice scrambler, two-way radio communication device, and a parabolic sound enhancer, and a cybernetic link to armor systems. While carrying a pair of... he basically carried, of course, naturally Tofas and Billy Clubs, all of the same style as Matt Murdock, Daredevil. Of course, these armaments, these handheld weapons, were actually put in special slots in the back of the Mark I armor, and and an armored high-tech fiberglass skateboard with a retractable razor-sharp blade. This blade also hooked onto the back of his armor. The armor was equipped with a titanium spring-loaded blade in the right forearm. The left wrist of his armor contained a thin adamantium alloy garrote wire, micro surface-to-surface missiles which were mounted on the forearms. The Mark I armor also had a hidden compartment in which he had a micro Uzi submachine gun stored just in case for emergencies, and the skateboard could then be used as a shield or a weapon with a wide concealed blade. It could also be modified to be used as a snowboard. The wrist gauntlets of his armor can actually fire pepper spray, sleeping glass, or explosively launch his battle armaments, which were holstered along the forearms of his Mark II armor. The gauntlets could also deploy grapple lines for traversing rooftops, and also contained retractable blades, as well as an extendable computer tap. I know, I'm almost done here, guys. And he also had a utility pack with various shaped explosives, plastique, napalm gel, magnesium flares, smoke capsules, incendiary packs, spur jacks and clap traps, and ball bearings. The backpack also contained a glider chute, and the Mark II armor also had an advanced active camouflage system. And also, the armor that Dwayne wore during the Civil War was also revealed to be made from a vibranium mesh. Okay, that was a lot longer than I really would have liked to have went into that, but let's get into Dwayne's origins now as Nightthrasher. Okay, Dwayne Michael Taylor led a hard life. As a child in New York City, he saw his wealthy parents slain before his very eyes. This event drove him to hone himself into a human fighting machine in the pursuit of vengeance. Sounds like somebody familiar, right? Over time, though, this desire for revenge later evolved into an obsessive desire to punish all wrongdoers. He was unable to fully remember the exact circumstances of his parents' death, but was unable to remember the face of their killer. It was assumed that this was due to his mind trying to block the memory. Later in life, he discovered that the entire circumstance of his parents' death and his own rearing by his guardian Cord and an elderly Asian woman named Tai had in fact all been orchestrated by Tai herself. And the driven and conflicted young man lived a dual existence. During the day, he ran the Taylor Foundation, and at night, he relentlessly trained himself to the peak of human perfection and studied with the best private tutors money could buy. He then began patrolling the streets of New York City as a crime fighter to provide a testbed for his skills. Silhouette and Midnight's Fire were operating as independent vigilantes in the streets of New York City when they met Dwayne, who was also doing the same thing, but as a solo operative. A short while before he became the Nightthrasher, the trio began an organized effort to lessen the influence of the New York City street gangs. And then Silhouette and Midnight's Fire were the children of Andrew Cord, who was serving at the time as Andrew Cord was also serving at the time as Dwayne's guardian. Their partnership ended with Silhouette was shot and paralyzed from the legs down in a sting gone badly. Midnight's Fire blamed Dwayne and became a cop killer and a drug lord in order to lure Dwayne into a physical confrontation he could not possibly win. Later, the partly paralyzed Silhouette reunited with Dwayne, distancing herself from her brother's evil actions. Dwayne created a suit of special body armor partly as a response to the threat of Midnight's Fire, who was determined to kill him, and also because he felt it would be the most effective way to carry out his mission. Nightthrasher would then miraculously research several young solo heroes and selected 3 as targets for recruitment. He based his group on the Fantastic Four, with him being the Reed Richards of the group, Additional members were slated to reflect roles of each FF. The first recruits were Richard Ryder, the then retired and supposedly depowered Nova. Yeah. Deducing that he could reignite Ryder's powers with a high-stress incident, Nightthrasher abducted Ryder and dropped him off of a building. Though Ryder was understandably upset at Nightthrasher for risking his life, the fact that the incident allowed him to regain his powers, his greatest desire, made him feel obliged to join the team. Almost immediately after gathering his other two chosen members, mutants almost said Starfire, Firestar, there we go, and Marvel Boy, who would later become known as Justice, the four would actually become involved in an emergency. The former Herald of Galactus, Terrax the Tamer, had reformed his body and was thus creating a good deal of destruction in downtown New York City. Arriving at the scene, they found another couple of heroes, Speedball and Namorita, who were actually fighting him. The six young heroes battled the raging villain and managed to neutralize him via the use of teamwork. And in the aftermath, the Avengers showed up and stole the show, leaving some of the young heroes bitter at being slighted. Nevertheless, the six agreed to form together into a new team, naming themselves what a reporter had called them, the New Warriors. With the New Warriors, he next aided Thor in the battle against Juggernaut. The former partnership with Midnight's Fire and Silhouette was revealed, and Nightthrasher defeated Midnight's Fire and was reunited with Silhouette. Nightthrasher first clashed with Ben Gale and fought the Punisher. With the New Warriors and the Fantastic Four, he again defeated Terrax. And with the New Warriors, he actually had captured Gideon. And the Warriors fought crime together fairly successfully in a respectable amount of time. But Dwayne scrambled across some alarming inconsistencies in the sham that was his life. He first discovered that his company was involved in very shady practices, and this initial inconsistency led him inadvertently to unravel the lies that he had been fed since childhood. Nothing was as it seemed. In the end, a bizarre, mystically oriented conspiracy was revealed, along with new villains in the form of the Folding Circle, and Ty's true role was made clear. During this time, he became the legal guardian for Rage, a young boy in a man's superpowered body. Rage had lost his grandmother in a revenge scheme targeted at the New Warrior's friends and family. The Folding Circle. And Nightthrasher then confronted the crime lord Tatsuo in Japan and quit the New Warriors. He battled and was forcibly abducted into the Folding Circle. And during this time, he pretended to join the Folding Circle in order to infiltrate them, but he neglected to tell the Warriors this. His obsession with justice, still fueled by his parents' death and his anger issues, had led him to leaving the team. He traveled to the Folding Circle to the Dragon's Breath Temple in Cambodia and learned of Ty's responsibility for his parents' death. With the New Warriors, Darkhawk, and Folding Circle, he thwarted Ty. He sought to prevent a hostile takeover of the Taylor Foundation and saved Cord's life. He fought rematches with that one, the Gideon villain and Ben Gale, and even battled Tantrum. In the aftermath of his departure, the Warriors were never quite the same. The lineup changed a bit, and Dwayne was an on-again, off-again ally. He suffered setbacks along the way, though, including losing his girlfriend and teammate Silhouette to his alleged half-brother, Donnell, or otherwise known as Bandit at the time. And Dwayne was no longer the undisputed leader of the Warriors. Most of the gang turned first to Namorita, and then later to Justice for leadership. He later involved himself with Psionics, but eventually returned to the team in the last issues of the volume. He played a prominent role in the final arc of New Warriors Volume 1, dealing with the Deathstroke to the Dire Wraith Volix. In Nova, the Human Rocket #1 in May of 1999, Nightthrasher disbanded the team and decided to travel abroad, training in various martial art disciplines and learning of a plot against Iron Fist by the Hand's new leader, who at the time Nightthrasher helped a recent reformed New Warriors in order to save Iron Fist's life. After this adventure, he would leave again. And the volume's last issue, he returned to the team so that they could be molded into a more effective superhero team. And in New Warriors Volume 3, Dwayne would eventually retire from being a superhero, but stayed semi-active while running the Taylor Foundation. He wished to use the foundation to make the world a better place and became heavily involved in cancer research. He gathered a top-notch field of microbiologists. Microbiologists, and one of whom developed what appeared to be a cure for cancer. Eventually, the cure turned out to be the work of the biologist's mutant son, who had used his powers to tell the cure what to do. This revelation destroyed investor confidence in the Taylor Foundation. The scientist died trying to prove his cancer cure worked by testing it on himself. Dwayne salvaged the remains of the Taylor Foundation and adopted Microbe, the mutant son of the dead microbiologist. Dwayne approached a television production company to bankroll and promote a new team, packaging their adventure as a TV reality show. He reassembled a new team of warriors plus Microbe, and they would travel around the country. Now, during the Civil War, Dwayne was actually one of 4 heroes that would be involved in the Stanford incident that led to the Marvel Civil War, because when Nitro exploded, Nightthrasher had apparently died in the blast. His death would be confirmed in Civil War Frontline Issue 1. And in the aftermath of the Civil War, a new team calling themselves the New Warriors would appear. They began recruiting underground, undiscovered, and depowered heroes who strongly disagreed with the Superhuman Registration Act. While most of these new warriors are new to the team, the leader and recruiter revealed himself to be Nightthrasher. Though the true identity of this person was unknown for the first few issues, the Nightthrasher's grave contained only the torn remains of the costume he was wearing during the Stanford incident, and with analysis of the costume revealed a surprisingly minimal amount of biological material, though the doctor who performed the analysis noted that this could be explained by the fact that Taylor was only human and was thus within a close proximity of Nitro's explosion, but was also partly protected by his costume. And in New Warriors number 6, it was revealed that this new Nightthrasher was in fact Donnell Taylor, Dwayne's illegitimate half-brother, whom Dwayne had previously fought as the villain Bandit. Dwayne's remains, along with Microbe and Namorita's, were later recovered by the New Warriors and Justice's counter-initiative team and given a proper burial. And in the post-Civil War, sometime later, the New Warriors used a time machine to actually attempt to go back to the past and save Dwayne, but are accidentally sent into a future timeline where Iron Man has used the initiative to place the entire world under a regime of tyranny. Donnell confronts Iron Man only to find out that it is not Tony Stark who is wearing the armor, but a resurrected Dwayne. Overjoyed that his brother is alive, Donnell tries to capture his own teammates despite his misgivings about Dwayne's dictatorship. When this alternate Dwayne kills the captive Tony Stark in cold blood, Donnell turns against him, freeing the New Warriors and eventually killing him. And that, guys, is actually it for Dwayne Taylor, the first Nightthrasher. Now, guys, I'm going to talk about Donnell Taylor, the second Nightthrasher, and former supervillain Bandit. Okay, guys, we move on to Donnell Taylor. Now, let's get into this. Okay, Donnell was first appeared in Nightthrasher Volume 2, Issue 3 in October of 1993. And he was created by writer Fabian Niccieza and artist Ken Lashley. It's also worth noting that Donnell is actually a mutant, and that his team affiliations have been the Taylor Foundation and the New Warriors. And to go into his powers and everything, Donnell is actually a mutant with bioelectrical abilities similar to that of an electric eel that require physical contact in a conductive medium to work. He can channel an electrical charge strong enough to stun, injure, or kill someone just by touching them. He augments the range of this power by shooting special wire-tethered quarrels from his wrist bow. He has also demonstrated superhuman speed and reflexes on par with Midnight's Fire and Silhouette. He is also an accomplished marksman, acrobat, and martial artist. He has a specialized wrist-mounted crossbow, fires wire-tethered quarrels tipped with miniature grappling barbs, which can penetrate an opponent's flesh and thus open up beneath the skin. He then uses his powers to send a debilitating bioelectric charge along through the electrical conductive tether, basically making himself a living taser. He can also carry a variety of throwing stars. His Nightthrasher armor, apart from giving him added protection, enables him to project form energy weapons such as a bow staff, billy club or akimbo sticks, and wrist blades. At one point, he banged the sticks together to create an energy shockwave. He's also displayed a jetpack and used PIM particles to shrink himself and others down. He is also an accomplished thief and scientist. It is revealed in New Warriors Volume 4 that he is able to empower depowered mutants by stealing powerful technology from the likes of the Avengers. The full capabilities of this knowledge are unknown, but he is fabulously capable of producing incredibly powerful advanced technological exoskeletons. Now let's get into Donnell's actual origins, shall we? Okay, Donnell Taylor is the product of a one-night stand between an unnamed mother and Daryl Taylor, the father of Dwayne Taylor. And Daryl was a rich businessman who had turned the inheritance from the death of his parents into 100 times the amount he was given. With it, he set up charitable foundations like the Taylor Foundation. He also had married Dwayne's mother, Melody, since they were 18 years old. He met Donnell's mother while at the bar at the Fairmount Hotel in Chicago. He paid Daryl's mother a check worth 6 figures to keep quiet of their affair after she revealed she was pregnant. Donnell resented Dwayne for having the money and the family he never had. Dwayne resented the notion that his life was somehow any better because he barely remembered his parents were murdered by Silhouette's father, Andrew Cord. Donnell took the name Bandit and began targeting Nightthrasher's old foes to prove he was superior to Dwayne. Dwayne would later endure a severe beating at Bandit's hands. Later, wanting a rematch, he abducts Silhouette, keeping her tied to a chair under blinding lights in order to lure Dwayne into a confrontation. But Dwayne wins the rematch. He begins sleeping with Silhouette afterwards. When Nightthrasher, Silhouette, and various other members of the New Warriors are sent back in time, Donnell joins Hindsight Lad, Sprocket, and his father's killer, Andrew Cord, in creating a new pair of New Warriors to save the originals. The team consisted of Bandit, Hindsight Lad, Turbo, Darkhawk, Dagger, and Power Packs. Donnell later comes to terms with his half-brother, finding common ground during their battle against the Sphinx when the Warriors were returned to the proper time period. Donnell and Silhouette quit the New Warriors soon after and moved to Chicago. This was the last time that they were seen for several years. And the next time he would show up, he apparently had been seeing, Gambit's ex-wife, Belladonna, for a few months. Nobody knows what exactly happened between Silhouette and Bandit in Chicago that caused them to separate. It is clear that by their conversation at Dwayne's gravesite that they are no longer a couple. And let's see. And after the Stanford incident, Donnell had taken over the Taylor Foundation at the time of death of his half-brother Dwayne. It's also revealed that he had suffered from a car accident that caused his legs to become amputated. He denies involvement in the latest incarnation of the New Warriors. However, it reveals that a large amount of money was drained from the Taylor Foundation against his wishes, and only he and his brother Dwayne had access to those accounts. It's later revealed that Donnell did in fact lose his legs at all. The last panel shows him standing up and staring out of a window with the image of Nightthrasher behind him, suggesting that he took his brother's alias and costume and now leads the New Warriors. Apparently, Dwayne and Donnell reconciled at some point, and as he is seen expressing regret at the earlier hostility in their relationship at Dwayne's gravesite. And Donnell considered disbanding the New Warriors after teammate Longstrike was murdered by one of the members of the New Zodiac. The remaining members convinced him not to do so, and he had problems with Wondra, sowing seeds of dissent among the other dissent or deceit among the rest of the team. Donnell frequently disappears during battles and does not divulge his comings and goings with his teammates. He downloaded information from Machine Smith, there we go, who he claimed was creating a techno-organic virus. It is revealed that Donnell has taken in abused children and teenagers such as Kaz, Aja, and Grace to help him by making them members of the New Warriors support staff. They have helped turned one of Arcade's former hideouts into a base for the team. He rescued each of them from abused environments and has been trying to give them a new and better life. And when the Skrulls invaded Earth, Donnell actually started to wonder if the Nightthrasher that perished in the Sanford incident was actually a Skrull. He travels to one of the New Warriors' old safe houses, hoping to acquire a sample of his brother's DNA. Justice and his counter-initiative arrive and attack Donnell, believing him to be a Skrull imposter. They ask him if he is or is not Dwayne, to which he doesn't answer, which just escalates things. The rest of the New Warriors then arrive on the scene. A battle occurs between both teams, but is quickly stopped by Darnell, who then shocks both of the groups by revealing his identity. They call a truce after Donnell asks Justice to help him find Dwayne's body. They arrive at a SHIELD helicarrier when Justice believes it's being held, only to find it under siege by a Skrull assault force. While the Warriors in the counter-initiative battle the Skrulls and evacuate the surviving SHIELD agents, Donnell and Justice find Dwayne's corpse along with the remains of Micro B and Namorita. They take samples of Dwayne's DNA and run it through his armor's computer. Then it does the same with Micro B and Namorita. The results test positive, and Donnell actually tells Justice that they're taking the bodies with them. He agrees, and the two teams depart as army reinforcements appear to deal with the remaining Skrulls. Later, the two teams bury the remains of their friends in a short memorial service and part on good terms. And try to find my place where I stopped at. Oh, there we go. Following the confrontation with S.H.I.E.L.D.'s Cape Killers, Skybolt and Ripcord are killed, and Donnell revealed that he had been working on a time machine so that he could save the former New Warriors from their deaths in Stanford, and by extension the New Warriors who had perished since then. When the machine is activated, it instead sends them into a future where Iron Man had taken the Registration Act to the extreme. Future where all superpowered beings have been removed from the general populace and the people are under a rule of tyranny. Confronting Iron Man, it's revealed that it's not Tony Stark under the armor, but Dwayne, who had returned from the dead. Despite having misgivings about his totalitarian rule, Darnell needs to reconnect with his brother and leads him to betray and capture the other New Warriors. However, when Dwayne kills Tony Stark, who in this timeline had taken the identity of Nightthrasher, in cold blood, Darnell comes to his senses, rescues the others, and frees the incarcerated heroes. He then is attacked by Dwayne, who is forced to kill him. Upon their return to the present, Darnell disbands the New Warriors, believing that they will never be able to trust him again. Later, a man with the Nightthrasher outfit appears alongside the Counterforce members that arrive at Camp Hamilton during the assault of the Thor clone called Ragnarok. It is later confirmed to be Donnell Taylor, who becomes the group's benefactor and second in command. When the group goes on the run from Norman Osborn, changing its name to Avengers Resistance, it's then that Avengers Resistance aids the heavy hitters against a group of other initiative teams. Donnell is shot in the head by Taskmaster. He, however, survives and is captured by Osborn and the Hood, who make an offer to bring his brother back. However, the Avengers Resistance comes to rescue him, while Counterforce moves to a new hideout. He stays behind now that Norman Osborn knows who he is. Counterforce hears about the incident at Soldier Field involving Volstagg and the UFOs, and Justice deduces that Norman Osborn orchestrated this. While Counterforce contacts the Mighty Avengers and the New Avengers, Darnell is advised to send emails containing evidence of the UFO's payoffs, where Darnell objected, stating that Norman Osborn would make up some excuse to cover it. Justice concludes that while they will have to attack Camp Hammer to expose Norman Osborn for what he is, while visiting his brother's grave, Darnell is conflicted whether he should go with the deal for Norman Osborn and the Hood gave him. However, Counterforce takes the fight to Camp Hammer and ends up fighting the Hood's gang. They are knocked down by Hood's new Asgardian weaponry. When Darnell arrives, Hood gives him an opportunity to prove himself by killing Tigra. Hood demands that Darnell kill Tigra if he wants his brother revived. However, instead, he attacks the Hood and is joined by Tigra as Hood uses the Nordstones to empower some of the cadets on his side. And that, guys, is actually the last amount of information that I can actually dig up here on Donnell Taylor. So that's pretty much it, guys. This has been a very, very long video. I'm actually now pretty lightheaded because I haven't taken very few breaths in between. But there you go, guys. That's been the 8 characters for this year's Lesser Known But Awesome Heroes Black History Mini Marathon. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I certainly hope that you guys, despite all my fumbling here and there, enjoyed this video on Nightthrasher. I hope for some of you this will make you happy. And with that, guys, as always, stay tuned for when I give the very last character of Batch 1 on Lesser Known, the regular one, and then after that, stay tuned for a very long wait, but I'll try not to make you guys wait too long. But I'm going to be working, of course, naturally, on the Lesser Known Pulp Editions. So stay tuned for the first one of that after the last Batch 1 character. And as always, guys, as it is my staple, and as always, stay tuned for the next one. And also, guys, don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to check me out on the YouTubers 3. And also, guys, if you haven't watched the Mount Vernon Kids video yet, watch his video. And then of course, check myself and Serpentine 451 out on YouTubers 3. Bravo! I don't know when we're going to actually get together and do our first video. We're still going through the scouting and candidatorial process. But once we got our team assembled, guys, we're going to try to do a welcome video and so on and so forth. So who knows how long that'll take. But until then, guys, I'm going to focus on my stuff, just like everybody else is going to focus on their stuff. And I'll be doing all my regular groupings with the YouTubers 3 and so on and so forth. And, of course, trying to juggle my personal life and everything outside of YouTube. You guys get the point. I don't need to remind you. So, as always, guys, stay tuned for the next one. Have fun. Enjoy the videos. And, yeah. That is all I really need to say about that. Okay, I was sorry, guys. I had a little bit of lag there. I don't know if you caught half of what I said or not. But anyway, I'm going to leave this video off because I'm wasting time and I don't want to keep you guys all day. Lord knows I'm sure you guys are bored already at this point. So as I stated, rate, comment, subscribe, support the YouTubers 3, support all my other brothers in arms at the YouTubers 3. Stay tuned for YouTubers 3 Bravo. And, as always, guys, stay tuned for the next one. I'm out of here. Peace, love, chicken grease, and all of that shit.